I wanted to do a follow-up video for my very impromptu and somewhat disorganized video on Odell Beckham Jr. Sunday evening. One of the points I wanted to expand on in this video, and I will show some film, is a skill, the specific skill that I think OBJ still seems to have, at least from 2021 film. That I think will serve the Ravens well, and I think it's one of the things that might separate him from some of the other receivers that were out there to possibly go and get. Now, I'm not talking about DeAndre Hopkins because clearly he has this skill, and I'm going to use a basketball analogy as I begin to let some film run. I'm going to talk about this particular skill and compare it to a basketball skill that I think is rare, and one that is heavily sought after at the highest levels of basketball. And then I'll conclude with studying one game from 2021, a game that I think was very interesting that gives Ravens fans a little bit of a clue as to some of the ways that Odell Beckham Jr. can impact the game. So my basketball analogy is a guy who can make contested jumpers with the shot clock winding down. Generally talking about the NBA here, not lower levels of basketball, high school, college, stuff like that. OBJ is a wide receiver who, in my opinion, at this point, I would say he's a possession wide receiver with an asterisk. And what I mean there is he's a playmaker. He's one who makes great catches in traffic, like you see here on that fourth down against the Ravens. And look, some of these plays you've seen already from the video last night, but I have had a little bit of time now to organize them to make a little bit more sharper point, hopefully. You'll see some of the catches he made and he makes in this video and some of the ones from last night. And I equate the skill that he has, in my opinion, the ability to win through contact, the ability to make catches with a DB hanging on you, to an NBA scorer who can hit like the game-winning shot or jumper with the defender in their face late in the shot clock when the offense is bogged down and there's no real good offense developing. There's not enough time in the shot clock to get a good offensive opportunity from moving the ball around, from setting the screen, from attacking from different angles. And my player comparison that I want to show you is a guy who even late in his career hit game-winning shots or tough jumpers when the offense was bogged down. And so I'm equating those situations in the NBA to a 3rd and 7 in the NFL when the possession could be over soon. You could be punting. And my comparison is Joe Johnson, a guy who once averaged 20-plus points per game for 5 straight years in his prime. But his claim to fame, I'm loading these previous plays back up, his claim to fame was hitting game-winning jump shots. And just so you know, this is a compliment. If you don't think it's a compliment, let me read you some of the accolades. 20,000 points in his NBA career. That's 48th all time. In the history of the league, that's 48th all time. I think only 51 players have scored 20,000 points or more in NBA history, and Joe Johnson is 48th. But his real claim to fame is 8 career game-winning buzzer beaters. So buzzer beaters, meaning the shot goes in or you miss with no time left on the clock. 8 of them in his career. Now, Michael Jordan owns a record for 9. So that record is from regular season games and playoff games. And MJ has the record with 9. Joe Johnson has 8. And the other 2 guys he's tied with, Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. So there you have it. 4 guys with 8 or more game-winning jump shots, game-winning shots at the buzzer in regular season NBA or playoff NBA history. Their names are Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Joe Johnson. So this is not an insult. It's a compliment. I think OBJ will generally draw favorable matchups and in these situations, somewhat similar to some of the situations you see here with the Rams. And I want to compare this to a situation with the Ravens. Week 1, 2022. If you remember, Devin Duvernay had 2 third-down touchdown receptions. Now Rashad Bateman had a touchdown too. But I want to talk about who was guarding these guys in certain situations. Look, on third downs, Ahmad Gardner was guarding Mark Andrews a lot. Now, a lot of people across the NFL universe didn't know who Ahmad Gardner was in Week 1 of 2022. They should have, because the film from his college days showed a shutdown guy. But in any case, Bateman drew the Jets' second best corner, and Duvernay had 2 touchdowns on third downs, generally matched up against the Jets' third best cover DB. I don't mean Michael Carter, their nickel. I forget who it was who was their third corner, a guy they would bring in pass situations. Actually, there were some people in one of my YouTube videos in the comment section who identified, hey, that corner looks like a guy that we could attack. I forget his name. But in any case, OBJ is going to get those matchups. He's going to get favorable matchups in crunch time. What is NFL crunch time, which is third down? I think that's the reason why the Ravens signed him. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not think the Ravens signed him for him to go 80, 1,012. I don't even think the Ravens signed him for him to go 70, 850, and 8. I think the Ravens signed him for him to make clutch catches, to win those matchups, kind of like that picture you see right there from the Super Bowl 2 years ago against Mike Hilton. Going to transition this video now from my overall point, which was my segue. I think he's a guy who can win in crunch time in the NFL, third down, keep the offense on the field, and he's a playmaker. When I said possession receiver with an asterisk, what I meant was a guy who can make plays, a guy who will make plays, contested catches, in the red zone, on fourth down, on third down, keep your offense on the field, help you score more points, basically. So we're going to look at the Green Bay game from 2021, this first possession. It's a 3rd and 6. Game didn't start off necessarily great, but I'm going to use this play to segue into how the Rams and OBJ and their offensive players were able to adjust to what Green Bay was doing. Watch what these two safeties do on this 3rd and 6 on this little drag underneath route by OBJ. I mean, they are driving on it. The ball is incomplete. It's a pretty poor throw, in my opinion, from Matt Stafford. He does have, an edge defender in his face, so we don't know. I don't show you the end zone angle. The point of this video isn't to, badmouth Matthew Stafford. The point of the video is to talk about how OBJ can impact things. Well, here you see on an early 3rd down, incomplete pass, both safeties driving on this thing. First possession, incomplete, Rams have to punt. Okay, 3rd possession, 2 possessions later, you got a similar situation. 3rd and 8, OBJ's down here at the bottom of the screen. These two safeties, first of all, look at the safety eye in OBJ right now. This safety appears to be looking into the backfield, but watch the near side safety's reaction to an in-breaking route by OBJ. This will be Todd Monken and the offensive staff's job to set up situations like this, where they can counter people's coverages and give other players the opportunity to make plays downfield if Rashad Bateman and OBJ are shut off, meaning the safeties are driving on in-breaking routes, taking them away, but vacating the middle of the field for a guy like Von Jefferson to go ahead and have a 79-yard touchdown catch on a 3rd and 8. I don't think OBJ all of his impact is going to be felt with just the straight numbers. There were people on Twitter I saw like, oh, if he goes 50 catches for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, that's a horrible signing. First of all, I think the cap hit is extremely low. It sounds like to me a maximum cap hit of $3.98 million. I'll take it. But in any case, you can see the safety there next to OBJ, Von Jefferson, wide open field, one-on-one. It's going to give other guys for the Ravens, Rashad Bateman included, an opportunity to make plays. And it will put the onus on the Ravens' offensive coaches, Todd Monken, first and foremost, to be able to make those adjustments to how people are covering our receivers and punish them for doing so. All right, 4th possession. This is a 2nd and 7. Completed pass, I think, over the middle for like a 4 or 5 yard gain. Great catch. I'm using this one to show you that it illustrates his playmaking skills, illustrates how he is able to catch the ball no matter where it's delivered. One more time. Ball clearly should be thrown, a little further out in front. Sometimes you don't know what kind of traffic a quarterback has in front of his face, but it doesn't look like these guys are going to play any role if Matthew Stafford's able to deliver this ball further out here on the other side of the hash where it probably should be, but OBJ is able to come up with the catch. And it was pointed out in the comment section last night in the video that I made, the initial video that I made, that there's multiple opportunities, multiple throws like this, examples where OBJ is making the catch. He's going to be a lifesaver for Lamar Jackson or whoever plays quarterback for the Ravens. It increasingly looks like it'll be Lamar Jackson, if you believe the reports, or I guess they were partying together, celebrating last night somewhere down in Florida. 4th possession, 3rd and 2. This one is going to be incomplete. This is the very next play after the one that I just showed you. Again, you're getting an in-breaking route, ball thrown behind him against man-to-man coverage. Difficult for him to come up with a catch. I think I'll show you the end zone angle of this one. I do. It's going to be an in-breaking route from the left-hand side, from our left to our right on the screen. And you can see Stafford is coming back to him. He was initially looking over here to this side. Coming back to him, ball's thrown clearly behind him. Even, impossible for OBJ to go get. I think if you get it near him, even if he's covered, you have a chance for the guy to make the play. 3rd and 3 on the 5th possession. In-breaking route, safety jumps on it. Somewhat similar, I will give you the all-22 view here in a minute. Somewhat similar to a play that you saw earlier. You can see the safety reading the quarterback's eyes. Ravens will have opportunities if you're getting people on film, eyeing the quarterback like this, to bring over routes from the other side with, guess who? Mark Andrews. I look for him to be used not on the same side as Mark Andrews, but on the opposite side of the field from Mark Andrews. And that'll put the onus on Rashad Bateman to play more than just the left side of the field, but he can do that. His touchdown catch against the Jets last year in week 1 was from the right side of the field. Same play, 5th possession, 3rd and 3. This is a little in-breaking route. We're talking about this safety eyeing the quarterback and breaking on the route real quick. And you may say, well, Coach, like the film you're showing me isn't too impressive so far. Well, he and his coaches with the Rams had the ability to adjust, and I think Todd Monken has that. I want to ask you this question. If Todd Monken wasn't a coach who could adjust, wasn't a coach who was prepared, why would Odell Beckham Jr. sign with him? Why would he come here? I am one of those people, and I think it's Coach Evans on Sip to Tally, but it might be someone else besides him. I may be misremembering this, who has a pretty high opinion of Todd Monken, and I do too. But I don't know him the way that Coach Evans does, at least in terms of going to conferences, going to things, and hearing him talk, and even getting a chance to meet with him. He has glowing things to say about Todd Monken, at least from what I know of what Coach has said, and I do too, even though I'm not that familiar with him personally, on a personal standpoint, just watching the film. All right, Cooper Kupp in the slot. Watch the safety drive against Cooper Kupp. Double move, basically sluggo. Odell Beckham Jr. gone. Why was that ran? Why was that successful? Well, they had been on 3rd down running these in-breaking routes, safety jumping them, corner jumping them, set them up. OBJ, if you ask me, is extremely intelligent, has the ball skills to make plays against tough coverage. The Joe Johnson comparison that I opened up with, I think, is the best I can do for saying in a specific situation when you need plays made to keep the offense on the field, or when you need to make big plays. He's a guy who has taken advantage of them as recently as 2021 in the Super Bowl against the Bengals defense, which, let's be honest, the Bengals defense in 2022 that we just saw was really not that much different than the Bengals defense that was in the Super Bowl in 2021 and lost, but very easily had an opportunity to make the stop inside the 10 against these same Rams. I think OBJ shows to be a guy that's going to be a huge asset for this team. 11th possession, this is up the right side, man-to-man. Again, Stafford looking away and then coming back to OBJ. Lamar's going to trust him, or whoever plays quarterback, put him in position. I'm not sure he's a jump ball guy. If that was a back shoulder fade that was more appropriately thrown, I think OBJ has a chance to catch it. I'm big on the signing, especially for the salary point. I don't care if it's so funny to me. I hear people say, like, why are you in that player's pocket? Not me, but talking about other people, talking about player's salary. And then OBJ signs for $15 million, and there's complaints that the Ravens spent too much money. It's hilarious. It looks to me like to be a good signing for the cap, and that's all I'm concerned about, because it allows the Ravens to go out and get more players if need be, particularly a veteran corner over on that left side opposite Marlon Humphrey, or possibly even go ahead and hopefully extend, re-sign Lamar Jackson and really set this Ravens team up. I think they were in a great situation 2022 to win games in the playoffs. Lamar was not around. Ravens still damn near pulled it off. OBJ, in my opinion, will not end up with incredible stats. I don't listen to or read comments that are if he doesn't go for 75 and 900 yards and 10 touchdowns, it's not a successful season. It'll be a successful season if he helps us score 40 more points than usual by keeping drives alive, by even on the 3rd and 9, making that 8-yard catch to at least get us in field goal range. In my opinion, those small skills they're really not small skills. I think they're terribly important. Is what Odell Beckham Jr. brings to the Ravens facility, to the Ravens team, to their offense. You don't need him to be a guy to have high targets in that Green Bay game that I kind of, broke down there a little bit. A lot of in-breaking routes. The sluggo route for the touchdown was an adjustment. I thought the third possession, the touchdown to Van Jefferson, was an adjustment by their offense, and one where OBJ understood the coverage that he was going to get, and Jefferson understood the coverage. So did Stafford, to their credit. It's going to be a new offense for us, all of us, to adjust to. I think it's going to be a totally different animal. And myself included will have to adjust in terms of play calling and how our coaches adjust better, more efficiently during the game. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is a tool in that toolbox. I really do. I think he's a guy who can make plays when you need him to. I think he's a guy who can keep possessions going, and I think he's a guy who can help get other people open by selling his route and giving the safeties the same look to jump and help somebody win over the top for a big score. You guys let me know if you think I'm going too over the top with how excited I am for it. I think it just checks another box for the Ravens pre-draft, and this was my attempt to talk about his specific skill of a guy who can win in the NFL's version of crunch time, which I think is 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and medium, where you want to keep the offense on the field and end up with 27 points instead of 21. That can be the difference between 12 wins in a season and only 10. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you think other people would enjoy this video, please consider sharing a link to it on social media to help the video get more reach.